to something that is now transferred quite easily over the internet. So you can stream pirated content, you can, get subscriptions, you can download dollars, etc. So it's completely open. What's happening in the manufacturing world and the physical product space is also quite different. We move from an age where you knew that you were buying something that was pirated to second generation fakes where they're a lot more sophisticated, very difficult to kind of make the difference between what is a genuine and a fake. I think my colleague before me talked about some of these points. What's driving counterfeiting really is the internet. And why I say that is earlier there was a physical action of a person going and buying something, and based on the environment and everything, you knew that you were buying something counterfeit. Today, when you get on the internet, and I'm going to show you examples, you really don't know whether that product is genuine, whether that product is fake, whether you're supporting counterfeiting, whether you're not. So, consumers are generally not aware, and my colleague did bring up a very valid point that awareness of counterfeiting is one of the critical things to fight counterfeiting. I have this journalist who, Mr. Felix Solomon, who basically said that, it's very tough to kind of say how big the problem is. Everyone knows the problem is big, and there's a lot of numbers out there, 26 billion, 30 billion, 365 million, in terms of counterfeiting, but, there's no one to contest these numbers. So, if it's for a regular brand, and, you go out in the market and you say, okay, this is what the issue is, you'll have 5 people come back to you and say, we don't agree with your numbers, etc. But in counterfeiting, the counterfeiter is not going to come back and say, hey man, you've got your numbers completely wrong, the issue's a lot bigger. There's absolutely no safe haven for counterfeit goods, so I think maybe Andaman, Nicobar, North Pole, Antarctica, maybe a few places where counterfeit goods have not reached so far. And no industries where you had some people talk about this, be it luxury goods, be it automobile parts, be it software, completely, there's absolutely no industry that's spared. And the reason is the margins are huge and the penalties are not that high. When we kind of speak to a lot of clients, etc., when we talk about the issue and stuff like that, some people just say, it's too big an issue, we don't know what to do, therefore let's just kind of put it in, we'll discuss it later. But, we have so many good examples of how a good brand protection strategy has worked, and what the online component of that is what I'm going to kind of talk about. I think the first step is to understand what your issue is, understand the enforcement complexities, where you have protections, where you don't have protections, set realistic objectives, and then start your campaign. We at Citi, we have 2 specific products. One is where we can look at the brand service, business intelligence, and then there's a separate thing which is the information service, which basically provides that same information to the entire ecosystem that is supporting counterfeiting. I'll get into that shortly. Basically, we have 4 or 5 tools, when we get down to combat the counterfeiting. One is, online monitoring, online enforcement. There's intelligence gathering. There's investigations. There's raids. There's lawsuits. And in that order, depending on your budget, you have to kind of create the most impactful campaigns that you can against the counterfeiting. A large part of the transactions that are happening have moved on to marketplaces. Today, globally, we have more than 300 marketplaces and probably zillions of websites, that are selling products and counterfeit products. A lot of the major transactions that are happening on the internet are happening on global marketplaces. Amazon, eBay, Snapdeal, Flipkart, and the likes. Common types of infringement that we see are like blurred logos, low prices, large quantities, design infringements, replicas. The list goes on. These are some examples. Some of the infringers are even, stupid enough to write stuff like inspired by, replica, AAA. The next example is of a oil field manufacturing company, Derek, where products have just been counterfeited online, irrespectively. Social media is another area that's kind of picking up in terms of counterfeiters. It's a place where you can really sell true products in a slightly more hidden way. You have to have that really good technology and really good understanding of social media to find these guys. Here's a simple page that we found on Instagram for replica Christian Louboutin products. Here's another example of someone who just created a page called Alexander Wang, which is another global brand. Basically pretending to be that particular brand. So, you don't want your own social media space. Here's another example of a site that's using copyrighted images and, a social media page which is linking to a website that's dealing in counterfeit products. It's using all the imagery and everything from the original site. So, again, can be very misleading for consumers. Rogue website in the darknet, that's the new place where drugs, arms, terrorists, hitmen, everyone are basically very active in that area right now.